All right, go ahead, you guys.
I don't know what questions you have, but what
Yeah,
about
what
kickoff
else?
return? Yeah, kickoff return.
Yeah, again, I think we'll take, especially because they're so heavy, Thursday and Friday special teams days for us. Like I said, Trevor Ryan, obviously Johnny Lang, Mike's been back there a little bit, so I think we got a really good. We feel like we got three really good options. We'll see how practice goes, and then we'll kind of let it fly on Saturday.
Brian Peavy was talking the other day about pushing the rock or flipping the rock. What's the idea behind that, and where did that come from?
Yeah, there's a parable out there about moving the rock, and I think it's so relatable to our own program, and relatable to kind of the theme of raise the standard, and you push like crazy to try to create momentum, and once you create momentum, it's your job to keep the rock going if you want to get it to where it wants to go, and that rock going downhill can be really powerful. But it's our job to do it, and I think we're pushing on it. But how do you get it to flip and then flip again and flip again? And so I think just a real good visual for us to use, and we've talked a lot about it as a program. Not just our players, but our coaches and our equipment staff, our training staff, our strength training staff, everybody involved, and I think really requiring you to be your best all the time.
Was that something you had to lead up?
No, it's not. I think every year's different, and I always try to find something that parallels to our team and what we're going through and what's going on within our own program. We used a great book in this fall camp called Chop Wood, Carry Water. I try to give our football team a book at the start of every summer. Our seniors present on that, and those were the two big themes. I'm not a big cliche guy. Everybody's got 8 million cliches and goes out the window, right? But at least some visuals that our team can use and we can learn from and kind of go back to during the season.
When did you start instilling, I guess, that push the rock?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, it was this summer, and just I had read it when I was on vacation and thought, man, this really fits us and fits where we're at. And as a matter of fact, our first meeting back with our staff when we came back from summer vacation as a staff, everybody was in there, and they were the first ones to hear that. And then our first meeting back with our football team, they heard it. So that's kind of where that started.
If McEnroe Alexander does not play, what's that mean for the team?
I think that means somebody else is going to have to step up, and to what extent. McEnroe was a guy that was backing up on some special teams, and certainly had the ability to back up defensively. But I can tell you right now, he won't be available for this football game. And as we continue to find out the details, I'm not going to make any long-term or short-term decision until I know all the facts and those facts get straightened out. So, but right now he won't be available for Saturday night.
I know you're taking it slow, but just in the couple days that Camilo's been out there, I'm assuming in pads now, how's he?
Yeah, he's big. That's one positive. So he's big. And again, I think you just got to be really smart in this situation. Obviously, would we have wanted him back earlier? Sure. But has he done a great job since he's been here? He has. And I think he put in a little work even, as he was working really hard to get his grades up and get his grades to where they needed to be. But I'm excited about Camilo. Will you see him Saturday night? I think really depends again on how he finishes the week. But I think he's had a really good week for Camilo, especially for being here just, a week and a half now.
Is there a possibility he does play?
Oh, yeah, there's always a possibility. You only have so many guys on your roster. So, we'll just kind of see again where he's at. But I know I've said this, a couple times that I'd rather play him too late than too early. And if he does play, he's earned the right to play because of, at least what he's done in practice. And then B, physically he's capable of playing.
People who have seen your practices continue to rave about Johnny Lang. I mean, I bring it up to you every time, and I don't mean to be the banging the drums for him.
Yeah.
But do you want to? Is he a guy that can make a difference right away?
I think Johnny's kind of cut out of the same mold as some of those guys were a year ago. Where he's one of those really skilled athletes with the ball in his hands, and can do a lot of different things. So I think anytime you have that, and you have a guy that shows that he can do that, especially in practice situations at a really high level, then you earn the right to play. And where and how much. The neat thing for us is we got a lot of those guys that can do that. And there's a lot of guys that have the ability to do that. So I think you just got to be smart. You don't want to give him everything right away, and you kind of want to creep that into his playing time. But do I expect Johnny to play Saturday night? I do. I think he's certainly earned the right to be one of those freshmen that steps on the field, and how much, to what extent. I think we'll just see how everything goes and see how he finishes the week out in practice too.
One thing that I kind of noticed during the Monday press conference, you were talking about how leading up to the game, you were still trying to get guys to learn basic stuff like clean their locker and stuff like that. What?
A year ago.
Yeah, a year ago, not this one. What, looking back on it, what were some other just small things that you still had to instill on them leading up to that game, that first game?
I don't know, just even that game, you're talking throughout the first part of the season,
Yep.
and just, everything. I think there were so many firsts last year to everything, and that doesn't discredit what was going on here prior to. I think anytime a coaching staff changes, and there's a lot of new, we were a really young team, a lot of roster turnover, but anytime you haven't had success either, and you start to create those habits that don't allow you to have success, I think, it was certainly a culture shock, and I think our kids have talked about it, I've talked about it. There's a huge culture shock in our program from last winter through, really all the way through the entire end of the season, and I thought really by, somewhere in the middle part to early part of the middle part of the season, you started to at least understand what was expected of them. How do you come every day with focus and purpose? And some guys really bought into it, and you saw their play really start to escalate. And some guys still struggled, and it was like pulling teeth through the entire season. But I think the learning lesson is the group that really stayed the course bought into it in lock, stock, and barrel, and all of a sudden you came into January and it was like, whoa, this is a total different team than what we just dealt with, a year ago. And that's hard for young kids. There's a lot of seniors on that group that they had been with that coaching staff or those people for a long time, and you're trying to change, and change doesn't happen fast. Change happens in small groups in a controlled environment in a short amount of time, but you have to create those changes in a hurry, and I think we were able to do that in some way, shape, and form.
How much better